Well, an integrated newsroom to us is about having your key editors responsible for the content not only in the newspaper but also on the web and in digital format. So, for example, if you're Keith Perry, our sports editor, and you're planning a major event like the Rugby World Cup, you're not only thinking about providing a killer package for the newspaper, but you're also thinking about, the words that you file for the website, the video that you want to accompany to illustrate the World Cup coverage of day in, day out.
Also going to make it absolutely clear that in the United States of America, it is strong and patriotic to buy local, to buy your food local, to buy your products local. It's good for the local economy, but it's also good for protecting our environment. Every single thing that we buy that comes from halfway across the world comes with a huge carbon footprint.
If you are like most people, you're probably concerned if you live in the state of Vermont, and you have reason to be. At least according to a recent December 2007 report from the American Legislative Exchange Council entitled No Place Like Dead Last. In its report, ALEC ranked Vermont number 50 in terms of current economic health, which it judged by 16 independent factors. Take energy, for example. Since March 2006, gasoline prices have skyrocketed 94 cents a gallon. That's a 29% increase over less than 2 years. And truckers and diesel users have experienced their fuel costs doubling from $2.20 per gallon in March of 2006 to over $4.30 per gallon in March of 2008. And it's not just energy. On March 31, 2008, a national news service reported Vermont recently lost 57,000 jobs to downsizing and outsourcing. In a state whose population tops out at a little under 700,000, that is an enormous hit. And while the economic picture may look desperate to most, 2 Vermont businesses have chosen to see the glass half full and not half empty. They've joined the ranks of many socially responsible businesses in Vermont. They've chosen to buy local as a means of doing their part.
The products on this table are
David Glickman is the owner of Vermont Butcher Block and Board Company in Williston, Vermont. He moved his wife and family from New York City to Vermont in 2002. Within several years, he trained as a woodworker, eventually opening the doors to a now flourishing online business, which manufactures high-quality butcher block, cutting boards, cheese boards, and other premium quality kitchen items.
The name came about, I was doing some work at a community wood shop and I started making some cutting boards and butcher blocks, and I just loved doing it. And then I thought, maybe I could sell these. And I started selling them, and sure enough, they started selling, and I needed a name for the business. I was making butcher blocks and cutting boards and cheese boards, and the name just seemed to work. You know, the domain was available, the name was available, and so 2 and 2 went together, and that's how we started. It is a difficult connection from my former life to my current life. But basically, I was a pharmaceutical project manager working in New Jersey at a pharmaceutical company, living in Manhattan. My wife was a librarian in the city of Manhattan, and we had 1 child. We had 2 more on the way, and life just became a lot of work. You know, I was wearing a suit and tie every day, and the tie was choking me literally and figuratively. It was just time to get out of the city for both of us. So we had been visiting Vermont. We knew of Shelburne Farms. We'd been visiting Shelburne Farms for a number of years, twice a year, like clockwork. And so we knew Vermont. We knew the surrounding area. We liked the ideals. We liked the relaxed lifestyle. And so when it came time to get out of the city, we knew where we were going.
And in 1996, Culinary Institute of America graduate chef Kelly Dietrich opened the doors to the unique Kids Culinary Academy of Vermont. It started out as a weekday camp over 10 weeks for kids between 10 and 17 years of age. Originally located in Burlington in 2006, Chef moved the camp to a farm that he had acquired in Highgate, Vermont, allowing him to host overnight camps in 1 and 2 week long sessions. Enrollments doubled over 2 years, providing management with the ability to expand the camp and the cooking instruction curriculum in 2008. It now includes food-related classes such as aquaponics, the integrated growing of tilapia fish and culinary microgreens, organic square-foot gardening, shiitake mushroom cultivation, composting, and other circle of life demonstrations, making his camp a 5-star experience. So why did David Glickman and Chef Kelly Dietrich decide to form a buying local alliance and partnership with one another?
My name is David Glickman, and I'm the owner and president of the Vermont Butcher Block and Board Company. And today we're here with Chef Kelly.
And I'm from the Kids Culinary Academy of Vermont.
And we're here today to talk about a newly formed partnership that we're putting together that will pair up the Vermont Butcher Block and Board Company's products with Chef Kelly's
culinary school.
Right, right.
And I'm excited because I've used butcher blocks and cutting boards and things all my life, but I really don't know what goes into making a cutting board. You know, years ago the Department of Health came in with these plastic cutting boards, which all the chefs completely don't like even to this day, and now they've come back that it's actually better to use the wood cutting boards. But I'm excited about this whole project and our partnership, and I'm interested in also learning a little bit of how a cutting board goes together, because we're going to implement that into our curriculum this year with our students that come from all over the country.
Right, that's right. We're actually going to have them make cutting boards that they can take home. It'll be a finished product, and they'll be able to take home and use it at home.
Use it at home.
You're a chef, so you use cutting boards probably every day. Probably every day. There's a number of different types of construction of cutting boards. There's also butcher blocks. Some people call them one and the same, but they're actually a little different. And so let's talk about my standard product line first. The woods that we use are maple, which is a light wood. Maple is a closed grain wood. It's very dense, and that's predominantly what cutting boards and butcher blocks are made from here in the United States. The darker wood is walnut. We use the walnut as an accent color. A lot of people that purchase our pieces want decorative pieces for their kitchen. Walnut's not as durable as maple, so I think we like to see some of the pieces that we design for you in maple. This is also 1.5 inches thick, and why don't you see how that feels in your hands?
Yeah.
Tell me what you like, what you don't like. We also put them on rubber feet. We attach them with stainless steel screws so that the feet won't slip when they're on the countertop, and the screws won't rust if they get wet.
So this is your standard thickness for a cutting board?
Well, our standard thickness, 1.5 inches.
Well, to be honest, my personal preference is a higher cutting board. So could you go a little bit thicker maybe?
Sure.
As we spoke the other day, I indicated to you that probably, if this is 1.5 inches, so maybe a 2-inch.
Sure.
A 2-inch cutting board.
What we do when we make pieces like this is we'll take a plank of maple. This is it's called edge grain construction. We'll take a plank of maple and we'll actually slice it up into strips. And so when we make an 1.5 inch thick piece, we use 1.75 inch strips. So to make a 2-inch thick piece, we would just use wider strips, and we cut them, and then we turn them all on their side. And now you're actually cutting and then we glue them together in high pressure clamps with a food safe glue. And we squeeze it together in high pressure clamps, and then we plane it and we sand it, and you end up with a nice smooth finish, and it would be 2 inches thick.